Hey, welcome. Welcome to Sapphire Ridge News. Give people a few seconds to pile in here, and then we'll get started. Yeah. Hey, Julianne. Yeah, Trudeau resigned. Yeah, and 85% of the people voted for this new guy. Oliver, or however his name is pronounced, only got 4% of the vote. How crazy is that? Act Blue, they're in all kinds of trouble. So, what was going on at USAID is they had NGOs. The NGOs would say, this is an example, I need money for starving children in Africa. USAID would give them the money. Instead of giving the money to USAID, they would give it to Act Blue, and Act Blue would give it to various campaigns by the millions of dollars, which is totally illegal. And you know they're in bad shape because all seven of their board of directors resigned on Friday. They all resigned, which, from the way I read it, the board of directors were all lawyers and they were giving legal advice and counsel to Act Blue. So now their legal team basically said, see ya, bye. At least that's the way I understood it. Yeah, it was about time they got in trouble. They've been needing to be drawn in for quite a while. And Marco Rubio, I am just, I've always liked him as senator, but as Secretary of State, I really like him. Like he announced, and he announced today that the purge at USAID is nearly complete. I don't know what he meant by that, but he said that this morning. Yeah, they installed puppets like AOC and Omar and Jasmine Ghetto Crockett. I heard her referred to as that the other day, and I said, "Yep, that fits." Like she was on this podcast on Saturday and said it was not illegal for um, people to walk across the Mexican border into the U.S. That they should not be called illegal because they broke no laws. Yeah. Um, I watched Election Time over the weekend. They did a really good job with polls and stuff for Trump's election, and he said that 38% of Democrats want Kamala to run again in 2028, and um, 8%, I think it was 8%, 8 or 9% said Jasmine Crockett. 6%, I think it was, said AOC, and 3% said uh, Gavin Newsom. Yeah, Democrats have nobody. You know, and I read an article yesterday that said because of the way they acted at the State of the Union, that the Democratic Party can no longer say that we are a party of compassion and a party for the people. He said they proved they hate average Americans. I thought that was a good article. Yep, the Democrats have nobody. And election time did the polls on JD Vance against Kamala. JD gets 345 electoral college votes, and Kamala gets 212. I think it was, wait, 212 or 200. She's less than up against Trump. And did you see the video clip of the liberals attacking JD Vance and yelling at his daughter? His daughter's friggin' 3 years old. His daughter's 3 years old, and you know, I give him a lot of credit because he told the people, if I give you a few minutes of my time and we have a decent conversation, would you leave my daughter alone? And they said yes. So then he had like a 5 minute conversation with them, and then they didn't want to leave his daughter alone. They wanted to start yelling at her. He said, no, I'm not going to let you yell at my 3 year old. He said, I've given you several minutes of my time. We have talked about issues, and so I fulfilled my end of the bargain. Thank you very much. And he picked up his kid and walked off. I thought that took a lot of class for him to sit there and talk to them and try to get his points across. And then when they started yelling at his kid, he said, bye. I would have told him bye to start out with, right? Oh, Miss Mandy has a new channel. It's called Conservative Crossroads. Yeah, Act Blue was paying protesters. You know, I happen to think about something. If if Trump wanted to get rid of all of that stuff, he could just tell Congress that he wants them to make it so that any protester, how is that worded? Anyhow, it's so that certain protesters have to register as a foreign agent, so then they're covered by FARA. Oh, if they want to protest against the government, that they have to register as a foreign agent, right? See, the whole deal about Tesla and Musk is Trump did not make that contract. Biden made it. Biden wanted to replace all the Humvees in the military with Tesla Cybertrucks. And they were going to order so many hundred, like 600 or 800 Cybertrucks. And Elon said, well, we could do that. But he never followed through on the contract, which goes good on him, his side. He could say, hey, I never followed through. I never I never delivered one Cybertruck. Right. See, this whole thing with Act Blue showed how corrupt the Democrats are with having NGOs saying we need money for XYZ, and they get the money. USAID gives them the money, and then the NGOs turn around and give that money back to Democrats. Yeah, it does have them in a twist. And I was laughing yesterday. Hakeem Jeffries come out and said that we are taking back the majority in 2026. Not only the majority, we're going to have a super majority. We got Republicans on the run. Just keep your foot on the gas and run them over. It's like you're on drugs, dude. Right. You're going to be charged with taking bribes. Let me see if I can get that article. Where was that? I think that was on X. No, it's not an X. Where was that? Yeah, MAGA keeps them awake at night. Yeah, Christy Nome. She has been a really impressive Secretary of DHS. Christy Nome on Sunday vowed to use every single one of her broad and extensive authorities as Homeland Security Secretary to carry out President Donald Trump's agenda, including finding and punishing criminal leakers that she claims are hiding in the department, saying they will be prosecuted and they could face 10 years in federal prison. Yeah, I subbed up to it. I was going to tell you to go sub to it. Yeah, leave it to Chris. I think it was Christine Ohm. She's creating a deportation app where people can go and put in this app that they've deported themselves. Here it is. Secretary of State Rubio says purge of USAID AID programs is 83% complete. Is that impressive or what? Secretary of State Marco Rubio said Monday the Trump administration had finished its 6-week purge of programs of the 6-decade old U.S. Agency for International Development and said he would move the 18% of aid and development programs that survived under the State Department. Rubio made the announcement in a post on X. It marked one of his relatively few public comments on what has been a historic shift away from U.S. foreign aid and development executed by Trump. So he's nearly out, complete um, reforming the U.S. aid program. Yep, they're doing their thing. So the cartel violence in Mexico is skyrocketing. Is that what I understand? You wrote? Okay, I'll be here. 19 says the Democratic Party is screwed. We're screwed. Democrats don't know what to do. This is a nightmare. The Democratic Party going through a massive set of internal crises. Hey, Zach. No, it's not ended. Um, Julianne had a problem with her um, computer and had to do a quick restart, but we're still here. I have no voice. Hold on. Excuse me. How about now? I changed the settings from the iPad mic to my ear pads. So, when I'm in a hurry, sometimes I forget to do that. So we're talking about how screwed the Democrats are. Let me read you this from Van Jones, what I call the liberals' liberal. This is Benny Johnson just posted this on X. Van Jones live on CNN says the Democrat Party is screwed. We're screwed. Democrats don't know what to do. This is a nightmare. The Democratic Party is going through a massive set of internal crises. Yeah. How about getting caught money laundering and funneling? You're exactly right, Julianne. Hold on. So the Democrats funding arm, Act Blue, got caught. Basically, I would call it stealing. It's money laundering on a large scale. Um, their entire board, their 7-member board, resigned on Friday. Um, what come out is that the NGOs at USAID instead of giving money to whatever their cause was giving that money to Act Blue and having them funnel that money into Democratic candidates. Right. Totally opposite of whatever the GOP says. But something that I thought was interesting about the State of the Union, okay, for decades and decades, long as practically almost long as I can remember, the Democratic Party was labeled the party of the people and the party of compassion. That is now dead. They had four opportunities to show compassion toward people there, and they sat on their hands. Right. I just watched a stream about that this morning, and over 60% of the signatures verified so far are not Biden signatures, and that's on government documents because he always signed it, signed his name, Joe R. Biden Jr. That's the way he's always signed his name. And the signatures that they showed that are there say J.R. Biden. I can tell him who. Lindy Lee said that Jill Biden and a close number of aides were running the White House and making all decisions. So I wonder if there's a statute of limitations on this is off topic, but is there a statute of limitations on collecting a student loan? I'm this is off topic, but I'm wondering if there's a statute of limitations on collecting a student loan. Student loans, because my daughter is in a situation right now. She went to school like 15 years ago for criminal justice, got a bachelor's degree, and she thought that that was paid back. Well, now the IRS is trying to take her tax return for unpaid student loans, and she has my mouth. She flat told him, "I don't know who you MFers think you're effing talking to," and they hung up on her. They called her back the next day, and they said, "Are you in a better mood today?" I thought she might be in a better mood, but say the wrong word and look out, because she was under the impression that this had been paid back many years ago, and now the IRS is trying to take her whole tax return. She's being audited, and she's being audited because she switched from TurboTax to H&R Block. TurboTax was stealing people's money. They were telling people that they had no refund coming back, and they were pocketing their refund. She's getting back over like 10 grand, and TurboTax told her she was getting no money back. Well, she thought it was paid off because she had been making payments, and she wanted to know why all these tax returns, these 15 years, that nothing had ever been flagged, but she switches from uh, TurboTax to H&R Block, and suddenly she's being audited. And she said she's almost sure that that was all paid back. She's moved several times, so she doesn't have the receipts. So I said, well, you may lose your tax return. I don't know if it was a federal student loan or private. I just know that I was sure that she had paid that back many years ago, and now the IRS is trying to say, we're taking your entire tax return. And then they were surprised that she was pissed off. It's like, really? You're taking people's money and you're surprised that they're mad? Right, Julianne. Well, and here's how this came about. She was going to file her tax return through TurboTax. TurboTax told her that she was not getting any money back, and she said that doesn't make sense. So she checked with H&R Block. H&R Block told her, "Yeah, you're getting money back. You're getting like 10 grand back." Well, it come out since she'd been talking to the IRS that what TurboTax was doing was telling people that they weren't getting any money back and then pocketing their return. That should be criminal, right? Isn't that fraud? Well, it was the IRS that explained all this to her, so I normally don't like dealing with the IRS, but when the IRS calls you, you got to talk to them, you know what I mean? And this is what the IRS, oh, excuse me, the IRS told her. that that Act Blue has been telling people they're not getting no money back, and then they switched to another um, company. So by switching, when they've used TurboTax all these years, they get audited by the IRS. Theft by deception. Who knows what's true when the IRS is telling you something? The IRS would. Um, it hasn't vanished. She set a deadline of the end of the week next week. She's working on some issues that came up. I don't yet know what those issues are. Yeah, I hope all of the fraudsters are caught. Right. 60 million fake social security numbers. 60 million, that's a lot. That I don't know. Right. Um, Pam said that there are over 250 victims of Jeffrey Epstein. I think that's the word she used. That's underage women that he did what he did to. Right. They raised 1 billion right off. So it's going to be interesting to see where this all goes. I'm going to get off here. I got some work to do in the yard. Um, but I'll be back on tomorrow at the same time at 2 Eastern. Love you guys. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.